If you were invited to a private meeting at the White House with Netanyahu, would you take it?
No.
You wouldn't do it?
I like being alive, you know?
I'd do it. Well, I did.
I want to have him on the show. We gotta get BB
I
over
would
here.
watch that.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, dude.
You gotta be on that one.
I want to hang with B.
This interview, collaboration, whatever you want to call it, probably came as a surprise to many, and especially when it was only announced the day of. As most have come to understand a bit of the history between these two pundits over the years, going from walking off the show alongside Kanye to sniping each other in long-form rants.
You can raise your voice, you can get your beanie all up in a bunch and all that on TimCast with your sycophants.
To now sitting side by side discussing Zionism and Hitler. So what cooled off the tensions? Well, to be frank, Candace Owens. And this brings us to our first, best moment of the interview.
Speed Bump says, is Nick going to slap down his wife, Candace, for the ish she talked about Tim? Keep your B in a line, bro.
Well, yeah, I am going to put her in line. Very inappropriate what she said about you. Well, I'll have a word with her.
Around the same time, you were calling her out. I called her out. I praised you calling her out. I think you said something about me calling her out.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
It was like the rebel yell. You like rallied the troops. Seriously, because... You know, I think a lot of people are afraid to take her on because she's got a big audience, and because people, let's be honest, a lot of people in the space feel they need to pander to like the dumbest people in the room that believe in like the craziest shit imaginable. And so nobody was saying anything. I took a lot of heat from my community for saying like, no, Israel didn't kill Charlie Kirk.
They said you got the call. Yeah,
right. Which is like, what universe are we in where I'm the Israel shill and Charlie Kirk was the martyr for the Third Reich or something, right? Like, what the fuck? So that was insane. And then you came out and you're like, well, you said the C word, which is very impolite.
What you won't.
That's a hardcore word.
I was ready to like flip the table over because we got shot at.
Yeah.
And then
which I'm sure most people recall Tim Pool's crash out moment on Candace, and essentially with her entering the room, the enemy of my enemy is my friend became true instantly. For moment number 2, revisiting the infamous Ye walkout moment.
Anyway.
Nick, I gotta ask you, because I'm like new to the game, when the Kanye episode, was the evac like planned?
No.
I don't believe you.
If it was, I wasn't in on it. My right hand of God. Because, you know, we went there and he was a little apprehensive. I'm going to be honest with you. Because we flew in at your old place in West Virginia and we went out. We got, what is that? A hibachi?
Hibachi at Frederick, Maryland.
And he was getting really like frustrated. He was getting a little antsy, you know, because I think he's a little maybe self-conscious about talking about politics because we're learning a lot of stuff in a short amount of time. And we pulled up, and I think that was it. I think he was a little nervous, and you know, and then I think you pressed him a little bit.
I didn't even press him.
No, you said something, and then you were like, no, you cut off Nick, and it was like, I'm done with it. He ain't listening to Nick.
You were like, who's them? Who's them?
No, he said that.
Oh, yeah,
He said, who is they, though?
Yeah, right,
And then
right.
I said, I don't know, like corporate elites and like the establishment, military, and he was like, and he got up and stormed out.
He was already mad, so. But no, if there was, I wasn't in on it, and I don't think it was.
We had like 200,000 concurrent viewers at the time. It was massive.
I remember, it was
and then he smack talked me on Alex Jones, which was amazing.
he kept saying,
nobody knows who
closed.
What do you say?
Pool's closed.
Something that I didn't expect in the slightest, and kind of funny that Tim Pool thought it was planned. But just to show you the level of which they were chopping it up, it's become clear that they have moved to a much more friendlier position than where they were just a year ago. Number 3, Ian Crossland getting red-pilled on Hitler.
I'm just going to say, for the record, Hitler was great. And I mean that by in scope and stature. Let me
That's why I wanted you on.
It's like Alexander the Great. He was a psychotic murderer. Wasn't a good guy, but he was great in scope and scale, as was Hitler. The largesse of his knowingness is all-encompassing. Everyone pretty much knows who he is. So that he was.
Ian's just trying to push buttons. That was.
Did you like that one?
He was just trying to piss people off because he knows they're going to clip it. And
Hitler was great, you know, wasn't even good, but you could argue that he was great.
Because people think great means good when great means of magnitude.
And great could mean evil. It could mean very evil.
Exactly.
Like,
I said the same thing to Tommy G. I did an interview. It's funny you say that because I said the exact same thing. I was like, these are great leaders. And he was like, oh my gosh, I can't. I'm like, good and great are not the same thing.
Not only does this moment show how different the energy between the pundits is now versus in the past, but is a monumental representation to just how far this question and topic have not only permeated into the mainstream, but is breaking taboos at record speed. A massive W for free speech. Number 4, the working class Jew.
And it's like, Jon Stewart talks about the disproportionate representation of Jews in tech and media, and that's not a secret. They have a lot of power in these areas. And so that criticism, even Jon Stewart, who's Jewish, points out. But they express to me that from your content, they feel like you're attacking the run-of-the-mill working class Jewish guy.
Working class, what is that? Like they run the banks? Working class
but that's
Jew?
the point. No,
that's a joke. But no, but like we're in the working class. We're running the bank. No, but so here's the thing. When it comes to Jews, I guess I would say that there is something intrinsic in Judaism that is inextricably connected to these issues that we discuss. Now, I would never say anything like I hate all of them or something like I don't want them to have rights or this, that, or the other. As I was saying in the interview with Redheaded Libertarian just a moment ago, I think they should have their rights protected, their dignity protected. They're part of America. They're inextricably part of America and the American story. However, we have to acknowledge, and you said this earlier, Judaism is bound up with their ethnicity. It's an ethno-religion, meaning that it's passed down by the maternal line. You're Jewish because your mother is Jewish. And what that lends itself to is that they're very tribalistic. And so even your working class Jew, maybe they're not pulling the strings, maybe they're not in charge, but they're deeply apprehensive about populism, nationalism. Why? Because the stronger and more homogeneous and cohesive the country becomes, the more it could potentially be unified against them.
So you think that had something to do with the fact that they're a diaspora?
Yes, and that's the tension, which Peter Brimelow talked about Tucker today.
But to not to get all cliche on you, but the obvious thing is, I'm not talking about people who are like practicing. I'm talking about someone who's Jewish. They don't worship really all that often. It's just they have Hanukkah and things like that, and they don't really pay attention to politics. They don't really care for any of this stuff. You've got these, you've got Hasidic Jews in New York protesting against Israel and support for. So it's like it runs the gamut, obviously.
Now this segment to me was just hilarious because just days ago when Tyler Oliveira posted his video on Curious Yole, there was a bit of a meme born out of the rare build that is the working class Jew, which was this individual who worked for Kosher AAA. But secondly, and more importantly, is that they were talking about the JQ on TimCast IRL. Once again, a massive achievement and largely Nick's for pushing the Overton window. Number 5. Did Nick start moderating his views after Charlie Kirk?
All right, I wanted to tell Nick something. I'm not a regular watcher of your show, but people may not like you, but you've been really composed on all your recent appearances. I've seen you on Piers. I've seen you on Crowder. I've seen you on Tonight Show. I want to say you've definitely earned more benefit of the doubt. And when people share things out of context, I'm looking to see if it's uncharitable. And I'm going for the root. I wanted to let you know that the tide of censorship is changing on you.
Wow. Well, thank you, man. I appreciate that.
You seem to have moderated. That's the talking point everyone's been saying.
Yeah, I don't know if that's really true. I think what happened is that everyone believed the worst smears about me. Yeah. And then as I got bigger, people started taking a little more notice and saying, okay, what's this guy about? They saw the clips and they said, oh, okay, that was a joke. Or, that's what he really believes. Because I think all my views are basically the same.
Did you say the craziest shit when you were young?
I will say I was very rambunctious when I was younger.
I said the most insane, I said racist, sexist, just cruel jokes, I would say, when I was 16, 17, 18. But there's before the internet. If I had internet video, it'd be fucking video of me saying that shit to get a laugh out of my friends and stuff. And like, that's not who I am. That was like 14 years later. I'm like,
This notoriously has been a talking point ever since the rift between the anti-Israel factions formed between Candace and Fuentes, with many arguing that it's a clear sign that Nick is a Fed, or others even being more charitable with it by arguing that he's trying to appeal to the mainstream and leave the fringes. And if you're asking me, I think it's people just grasping for straws. Number 6. Should women shut the f*** up?
Should women shut the fuck up?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Damn.
they should.
Shit. All right. Am I a baby machine?
Yes. Wait, do you have kids?
I have 3.
Then yeah, by definition, yeah.
I'm a baby machine. Perfect. Thank you. I got to add that to my ex bio, I guess.
Now, this wasn't a moment on the exact IRL episode, but it was a recorded interview that happened just prior to the Tim Pool collab. And although this moment was very funny, it gave us moment number 7. Does Nick deny the Holocaust?
Do you deny the Holocaust?
No, I don't deny it, but I don't observe it as a religion.
Yep.
You know, this dogma, people say it's 6 million, it's 6 million. And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, do I have to say that with the Nicene Creed? You know, I believe in one God, the Father, and also 6 million. Like, I think that's preposterous. And I think that people should be able to debate it openly. And to tell you the truth, totally honest opinion, I said the same thing to Dave Smith. I really don't know how many people died. You know, I watched all the revisionist literature 10 years ago, and I was pretty confident, you know, maybe it's like 4 million or something. But I have buddies of mine, they agree with me on everything, but they say, no, you got to read the other side, because there's this really autistic debate going on internet forums, obscure forums. They're like experts on this debate. Everybody knows all the intellectuals on both sides. And there actually is a very heated debate about really just what happened there. Yeah. Problem is, it's an illegal debate in like 17 countries.
That's true.
So for me, it's like, you know, I think we should go where the facts are, let the truth lead. And to do that, you need a culture of free speech.
Yeah, and it's even illegal in places like X. It goes against their terms of service to deny it or to question it, to ask questions. And I believe more speech brings more answers. So anytime somebody wants to silence any kind of speech on anything, I get suspicious about it.
Totally, and that's where people go with it, because it's like, well, what are you trying to hide? If it's illegal, why? And that's kind of where I got off on all that.
Exactly.
This moment, for those who have been in politics longer than just the last couple of years, is especially striking. The redheaded libertarian during the infamous Calendargate went on a massive blocking spree, myself included, in the light that she was getting pushback on Christian grounds for her involvement in the scandal. But now here she is hosting Nick Fuentes, asking him about the Holocaust. So for those blackpilling, understand just how much can change in a very little amount of time. Number 8, white identity in America.
Once the white population gets to a certain threshold, 60%, 65, 70%, they're going to start feeling pressure. It's not just that. You expect it to be, no. As soon as America is 49% white people get angry. No, because in Chicago, for instance, a good example, you have areas that are just all black, and there are some white people who live there. Those white people are discriminated against, and they become racist, because on the surface, that seems to be the issue. You get the white population down to where it is now, you're starting to see affirmative action, you're starting to see DEI policies, and what's going to happen is, it doesn't matter whether you're right or wrong, it doesn't matter if you're oppressed or the oppressor, people don't like being pushed around, and you're going to get an increasing number of white people saying, stop yelling at me, and it's going to create white racial identity politics.
Well, yeah, I think that the diversification of America makes that an inevitability, because people define themselves by distinction. I think that when the country was 90% white in the 60s, for example, people didn't even think of it as a white country. That's just what a country is. I wake up, I see all white people, that's what a country is. And the way they thought about diversity and immigration is, well, we could tolerate a white country with some non-white people. But ever since 2012, it's 50-50, non-white versus white births. So Generation Z, Generation Alpha, they're growing up in classrooms, neighborhoods. It's not white. It's some white people, some non-white people. It's a total mix. And now they're starting to say, no, I'm a white person in a diverse country. I'm a white person in a Mexican neighborhood. I'm the only white kid in an Indian neighborhood. You almost become more white the less white the country becomes.
Right.
And the thing is, I don't even think it's bad that the country's becoming majority non-white. And I think it's a good thing that people are developing a consciousness, because I think that's the only basis that they can stick up for themselves is as a group.
Why do you think it's bad the country's becoming less white?
Because I think it makes the country less cohesive, and I think it destroys the identity of the country. You know, America was founded by white people, built by white people. The culture that America had was generated by European civilization. And I think that when it becomes majority non-white, you're going to get a very different kind of country in every way.
What if it was, let's just say, all Native American, but they were all like the most diehard conservative constitutionalists who are like the founding fathers were the greatest thing that ever happened to our land? Would you disagree with that? Is that worse?
I would, because then we'd all be living in teepees and riding on horses.
I'm making it about the racial component. If it was 300 million Native Americans and like the white people just like didn't have babies and moved to Iceland or something, the Native Americans said we're going to build skyscrapers, we're going to play baseball, bake apple pies, we're going to praise the founding fathers and the Constitution. Is that still bad?
Well, that's just it. I don't think that it's interchangeable. That's really kind of the key word, because whenever people talk about race, they say, is it skin deep? And so people say, well, what if the person's skin was black? Or what if the skin was red or yellow or brown or whatever? But I don't think that Indians or, Amerindians, whatever you want to call them, I don't think they will be building skyscrapers. I don't think they have liberalism, center-right liberalism. I don't think they have any of that.
Well, but this is why I ask the very obviously impossible hypothetical of, if the only difference was skin deep, would that be a worse off nation?
Well, it wouldn't be the same nation, is the point. I wouldn't feel at home, let's say. If Chicago was all Indians running around, I would be a minority and I would feel deeply uncomfortable, because, home for us is familiarity. We like seeing familiar faces like our mom and dad and our uncles and grandparents. We like the food and the culture we grew up with. And if it's all Indians, well, they're going to be doing their Indian thing, and it's their home, not ours.
But that's the hypothetical. If they were making apple pie and playing baseball with you and were in every how about this? Every white person, a genie appears and he's like, I'm going to make everyone Indian. And then every white person just goes, whoa, I'm Indian now. Is the country worse off because of that? Like, you become an Indian, the culture is identical in every way. They love the Constitution, the founding fathers. They're all Catholics and Christians or whatever. Is that bad?
If I were Indian, well, then I guess it would be the same. If I'm a white person in a white country and I'm an Indian in an Indian country, I benefit. But we don't have to look at a hypothetical, because America was a white country and now it's going to be a non-white country.
Well,
This clip, perhaps being the most substantive moment on the show, besides the dissertation on Barry Weiss and her pedigree, is just how far the conversation on white people and white identity has made it. And it's not even that the conversation is happening on TimCast, but that the concerns are now being heard and engaged with, treated as if they are real. Whereas just a few years ago, you would be shunned, scolded, or flat out called a racist for being concerned for the trajectory of white people in America. And number 9, the secret meeting.
If you were invited to a private meeting at the White House with Netanyahu, would you take it?
No.
You wouldn't do it?
I like being alive,
I'd do it. Well, I did.
I want to have him on the show. We gotta get BB
I
over
would
here.
watch that.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, dude.
You gotta be on that one.
I want to hang with B, because we got to talk about Israel and Judaism. First of all you Jews out there, you can't have a religion and a culture that's the same name. You have to change the name.
Now, a bit of cheating, because I did open up this video with that exact clip, but to me it was one of the funniest moments from the show. And I think it's one of many examples that was shown in this podcast interview alone of just how much the conversation has changed, and especially the podcast circuit. Now, although I did cover a lot of good moments from the interview, this wasn't the entire interview, and I would encourage people to still go and watch the full thing if you do want to see more, and especially the uncensored portions, which I believe are on Rumble. But alas, a huge thank you to Nick for breaking down a lot of barriers that many thought was impossible, and seemingly he might have been the only person that was capable of doing it. Just the right combination of intellectual competency, capability, charisma, but also edge and conviction to be able to get it done and see it through. And that is where I will leave it. Let me know your thoughts if I missed anything, and like always, I will see you guys in the comments. Peace.
Smash that like button.